Alright, good morning, Mother Oafers. So anybody that was on Monday and saw my Super Bowl hangover, I do apologize. That was not very good. So I didn't have it in me. Rode for about 10 minutes and that was enough. So hope everybody's having a good morning. Here in Michigan, we've got some snow and ice. Very dangerous, so if you are out and about or getting ready to head into work, be careful. Doesn't look like it's going to be much fun today. If you're new to watching me stream, I'll give you a little bit of the background, and you'll see some of it here, right here on the screen. But this year, January 4th, I was supposed to have an umbilical surgery. And on January 3rd, when I went to my pre-op, the doctor basically asked if I wanted to wait until I lost some weight. And that was the first time he had brought up my weight at the time. And basically said that there would be a lot of complications, along with my blood sugar being high, that it might not make sense to have the surgery right away. So it took me a few minutes to make a decision after leaving the doctor's office, but I went ahead and decided not to have the surgery and to go on this new weight loss journey. Now you'll see the pictures on the right side of the screen. Those are my before and after pictures from 2012. And back then I think I lost 67 total pounds following a certain weight loss system. And I use those pictures not only to hopefully inspire other people that it's possible, but to remind myself that it's possible. So over the years, I went through this, after I lost that weight, I decided that I wanted to put on a lot of muscle, which is basically just an excuse in some respects to get fat. And so, along with the job that I have now, sitting for 8 to 10 hours, poor eating, not a lot of cardiovascular exercise, I look more like the before picture than I do that after picture. And so I'm on this journey that I call Mission 44 to get down to 244 pounds or a BMI of 35 in order to have the surgery. Now, a healthy BMI would be somewhere between 20 and 25 for an average person, but the doctor said that because of my build type, that he'd like to see me somewhere between 30 and 35. And what I mean by my build type is I have wider shoulders, so and when I was at that, I guess, least amount of body fat in that after picture from 2012, I believe I was somewhere around 229, 231 pounds. So I know it's doable. Now the reason I've chosen to do it on a bike is because, and to do it indoors the way I'm doing it, is one, it's Michigan, it's winter time. That's definitely a reason. The other reason is that I've learned enough about myself now that I need to stay out of the gym that has weights, because my ego won't let me just go in and do what I'm supposed to do. I'll eventually get underneath a barbell and I'll start pushing weight, and sooner or later I'm going to see some young guy pushing close to what I'm able to do, and I would just be back to it. And this hernia is no joke. There are some very serious things that can happen if you push it too hard, so I don't want to do that. Now I do want to get back in the gym lifting weights once I have the surgery and I've healed up, but I've got to take one step at a time. And right now that one step is losing the weight, losing the fat, and I'm going to use this method of doing it, and I've chosen to bring you all along with me. So welcome to the channel. And it does help me, trust me. Knowing that you guys are there, that you're watching, that you're jumping on board, it makes me accountable. And this is kind of a new way of being accountable. So I will also tell you that if you're new, you didn't miss a whole lot over the last few weeks as I've gotten started, because I've primarily been figuring out how to stream, getting my body used to moving again, getting my ass used to the seat. So, you know, I mean, it's been a journey, and I can't tell you even today that the sound is very good on this. It's always a possibility that it's not. So I do apologize if the sound isn't coming through good. That's been my biggest challenge. I've had to go through some hardware updates, getting the right computer to work with the streaming, getting the camera to work properly, figuring out how to put a green screen in the right position, all of the above. So everything's been a bit of a challenge, but I'm a nerd, so I enjoy it. I'm not complaining by any means. And every day after I get done with these streams, I actually go back through them and try to figure out what went wrong, things I can improve upon, and all of that. Above my before and after picture, you'll see the OAF logo, and that stands for old as F. You can figure that out. And of course, I'm working on some different OAF wear that's on the website, oaflife.com. You'll also see phorm up in the upper right. That's the nutritional products that I'm currently using. I did go through one of the things over the last few weeks. I wasn't really losing weight, and I was getting tired throughout the day. And though you would think it would go against what this product does, the King system from phorm is very, very powerful. Unfortunately, in my current condition, not a product I need to be using, and so my blood pressure was getting very high using that product, and so I've suspended use. We'll see if I even go back to it, but it wasn't, though it's a great product on paper, for me personally, not something I need to be using, and not something I'm going to use anywhere in the near future. But a lot of the other products I'm still on. All my levels seem to be in the right position. And so, but that's with anything. If you try something new, you just got to monitor your body and hopefully have a doctor that's willing to work with you to make sure that you're not doing anything too dangerous. I shouldn't say too dangerous, dangerous period. You also see a logo up there called Zwift, and that's a company that I recently partnered with. What I'm using them for currently is I like to wear headbands to keep the sweat out of my eyes, not only when I'm riding indoors, but also when I'm outdoors. And it gives me a nice barrier between my helmet and my forehead and makes things a little bit more comfortable. Of course, these ones have OAF on them, but the first few that I got from Zwift has OAF on them. I don't think I'll get that in the future. But that's one of the cool things about Zwift is you can customize your gear that you get from them. You can get your number on them if you're in sports. You can get your initials for a very low price. If you do decide to go to Zwift, if you use the discount code OAFLIFE40, you'll get 40% off your purchase. So that's kind of my gift to you guys for watching if you decide to buy it. Now, they make some other products that they gear towards, high school, college football players. So they got some arm sleeves, they've got some cleat covers, they've got some different things. Now, I actually intend to use those because they're actually translate over to cycling outdoors. And it's always smart to have a pair of arm warmers to cut the wind off your arms. So the sleeves I do plan on using, and the same thing with the cleat covers. They're actually good for cycling, to keep some of the dirt and grime out of from going into your shoes, I guess, best way to say it. So there's some use of these products besides just what you see on their website. The material is the same material that was from the other company that I was wearing their products. So luckily I didn't know that before, when I first hooked up with these guys, but now that I'm wearing it, it is the same exact material, and it serves its purpose. Now, Sleeves is a lot cheaper than some of the other brands, and like I said, you have the ability to customize it. So even if you had your own company logo, you could actually send them that file and get your information put on there, and why not, right? Now, one of the bigger struggles that I've had over the first few weeks is getting my Bluetooth to connect to the app itself. And so I have a cadence sensor, I have a Wahoo Kickr trainer, I have a heart rate monitor that I'm actually wearing on my wrist, and I just was having all kinds of issues. So there's another technology of connection called AMP Plus, and I went ahead and bought that small adapter for, that thing's less than $10. I bought a 15-foot USB male female extension, and I've connected that AMP Plus to that, and so I've got it very close to all of the hardware, and that seems to be working. My heart rate monitor and my RPM was disengaging all the time through Bluetooth, and so now that I'm running it through the AMP Plus dongle, so far so good. The other issues that I've had while streaming have been my webcam freezing up, which is actually a camcorder, and it's a Canon Vixia HF 400, a very old model. I bought it back in 2013, but what it does have is a lot of manual adjustment, and it has an HDMI cable that you can actually connect to it. And so I'm using an ELGATO cam link to help stream this. You can just use a webcam, but the quality is not very good. As far as my lighting goes, I just have daylight bulbs in all of them, and like 2 lamps, and the ceiling fan that's right above my head. And so that's all I'm doing for lighting. I don't have anything expensive. It's just 100-watt daylight bulbs, LEDs. So I didn't make a big investment on lighting, even though you'll see a lot of the YouTubers or streamers say that you need to buy all these lights, which I'm sure are great, but I'm just trying to get, I'm just trying to do this, I guess, on the cheap would be the best way. Not that this has been cheap, but you'll also notice this isn't a glitch in your screen. There's nothing, you don't need to scratch off anything. This is actually the cords for the ceiling fan that's above me. And one of the things, and I should have a fan in front of me, but one of the things that you'll find when you're riding indoors is that you have the disadvantage of not having the wind keep you cool. It's always suggested that you keep the temperature down in your house or whatever area that you're using these kind of trainers, and that you also have a fan on yourself. I'm currently up in a room that is kind of a main living area of the house. I plan in the future to get downstairs, especially in the summertime. And yes, I do plan on riding this app in the summertime. And the purpose behind riding this app in the summertime is that I can wake up early in the morning before I go to work and get at least an hour in. My schedule at the time right now is to ride Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. and be done by 8. And whatever that is, I'm not in any specific training plan. My goal right now is just to ride for an hour, and that's enough. Eventually, once my body gets used to it and I lose a little bit of weight and it's safe, I'll start getting into some of the built-in training plans and or races that are within the Zwift app. If you're not familiar with Zwift, Zwift is an interactive app that you don't need a computer or anything. You can run it right off of your smartphone or your tablet. It works best with Apple products, but you can download it on Android also. And you don't obviously have to stream, but I would encourage people to go ahead and stream, because what I find personally is that it makes me accountable. And when people jump on and start commenting and giving me suggestions or just cheering me on, it does help. It makes me get up in the morning to get on here when I don't want to. You know, Monday was a perfect example. I got up and I only rode for about 10 minutes, but I promise you I would have stayed in bed if it wasn't for my commitment here to be on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Now my goal is eventually to get to 5 days a week. And I'm not saying I'm not going to do that soon, but that's kind of my goal. Hey bud, I wish I was riding faster for you. I appreciate you trying to ride with me. So that's what I found here on the stream, is that I get some people around the world that want to ride with me, but because I am in such poor condition, I'm riding very slow. And so it's difficult for them to stay with me because they're at a much higher condition rate. But I always appreciate the ride along. I know I am still learning. There are things that I could be doing that I'm not currently doing, as far as what I can show you on the stream. And I apologize for that, but I'm doing a lot of things all at once, and all of it is just new to me, and I'm learning how to make these streams more entertaining, I guess I would say. Now the goal down the road is to start having some real conversations, some topics. So, for example, you know, discussing the Super Bowl from Sunday and getting your opinion, getting you the opportunity to type in on the chat and, you know, throw your 2 cents at it, what I'm saying or what your opinion is, or even the State of the Union address last night. You know, having those kind of discussions. And some of the things more directly related to getting older, which is really what Oaf Life is all about. Now, I'm at an age that I'm considered old, and I'm going to always be considered old. And so that's where I made the decision to switch all of my marketing and everything over to Oaf Life instead of some of the other channels that I used to run. So, you know, and I would expect a lot of these topics to be somewhat comical. You know, for instance, I'm single and trying to date, you know, after the age of 40 in this day and age. Of course, I'm closer to 50 now, but, you know, getting to the point where we're dating at this age online is not fun. So those are kind of topics that I plan on having the discussion. So I will plan those out. I will put a schedule, so if there's a topic that you're interested in or want to chime in on, it'll be you'll know exactly what the topics are going to be. So with that being said, how about them Patriots? Now here I'm from Michigan, so I'm kind of born and bred into the Detroit Lions professional football team. I did play football in the university in Detroit, and so I've grown up a Lions fan. They've been terrible my whole life. There's been a couple of years in the 90s where they were decent. Matt Stafford has had some glimpses of being an elite type quarterback, but that can be considered a controversial topic to say he's elite. But he has had one of the best seasons in the NFL's history, passing for over 500 yards. Of course, he had Megatron. But a lot of us are also the University of Michigan fans, and by proxy, that means we're Tom Brady fans. And so we want to see Tom Brady win when he's not playing us. And so seeing Brady win his sixth Super Bowl, and I do predict he will win 7 before he retires, seeing him win was awesome for me. Even though CBS sucks, and my picture kept going in and out the entire game. So if CBS sucks, or Charter sucks, or my service provider, but that sucked. But to see him win was awesome. Now, I don't know that he can win it without Gronk again. If Gronk decides to retire, he's going to have that tight end, but Gronk did so much this year. You know, Gronk blocked this year. I mean, he was a team player. Not to say the rest weren't, but he was a team player. But what they're missing this year, which made it surprising that they won, is they had no deep ball threat. And so I don't think that they win a 7th without a deep ball threat. Now, I've thought about what happens if Belichick retires. Could they still win one? I think the answer is yes. I think Brady could still win his 7th without Belichick, as long as it's within the next few years with the quarterback's coach or offensive coordinator. If he stays on, I think they've got a chance, depending on who they put on the defensive side. But I think they've got a chance to still win another Super Bowl, even without Belichick, as long as it's within the next few years. I mean, he's set the foundation, so I think it's possible. And I can't tell you that that's something Tom is as after, but why else would he continue to play is my thought. Even though I know he made this commitment to play to his mid-40s, which he's very specifically stated 45. We'll see if that happens, but I think he can win another one. You know, and to ever see 7 Super Bowls from a team again would be, I don't want to say impossible, but not very likely in my lifetime. But we'll see. Now, I was impressed. I mean, this entire year, you have to admit that Goff and Mahomes were, I mean, the seasons those two young men had was amazing. So I see them really being the future. I mean, that's not a groundbreaking opinion, but I think we've got a good 10 years of football ahead of us with those two quarterbacks. Should be exciting. It really depends on how their organization puts the team around them and how they handle the success. Goff seems to be much more level-headed, so you would tend to think that he has a better chance of having consistency. Mahomes' skill set should drop off over the years as he gets older. He will learn to be less of a cowboy, and so we don't know how that'll change his game. I think we've seen that in Carolina, where their quarterback, is very athletic as he is, has had to calm himself down and become a different type of player. So, but anyways, super excited to see the Patriots win. Watched a little bit of their duck boat parade this morning before I got on, and crazy old Gronk and that whole town. I mean, you know, here in Detroit, the Detroit area, you know, we deserve that, man. So, hey Will, how you doing this morning? So Will's my first ever follower, and he's been consistent of getting on here. So he's one of the guys that I'm always looking to make sure I get online, and because I've made the commitment. And so knowing that he'll probably call me out if I don't get on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday has always been a mental help for me over the last few weeks as I've gotten this thing started. Of course, he's had to live through the poor audio, the poor video quality, the fact that my sensors weren't connecting, so he's got to see all of it. He also will tell you that there is a delay between him typing a message and me actually seeing it or responding to it. But I've made quite a few upgrades over the last few weeks to hopefully make this better. So how's everything looking and sounding, Will? We'll wait for him to respond. I'm sure he's probably already typed it or responded to it, but like I said, there's quite a bit of a delay. Now, one of the things, and I you know, this is a broken record for people that have watched my videos before, but one of the reasons that I suggest that you go ahead and get on, you know, Zwift and also make an attempt to stream is that it is such a distraction trying to operate all this at the same time that you don't even realize that you've been on bike for 26 minutes. And so I'm not saying it's all perfect yet, because I just noticed that my clock wasn't hardly moving, and I was actually moving. So oh, good, man. Good. So what I did, Will, is I actually bought an Ant Plus dongle with a 15-foot long extension cable, and I have that close to my Kickr and of course the bike in general. So I'm not running Bluetooth anymore, I'm running Ant Plus, and that seems to be sticking to it. And so now you can see my RPMs, my heart rate, my wattage, everything seems to be syncing pretty good. I think next time I'm going to have to put the dongle closer, because like I said, there's been a couple times where it doesn't seem to be registering. But it's going to be nice to get past all of this technical difficulty that I've been having, so that I can concentrate on the ride and I can concentrate on the topics that I'd like to start discussing. So the other thing is that last night here in the United States, we had our State of the Union address. And not that it matters, but I lean to the right a little bit. I'm a moderate like most Americans, but it seems as if our politics these days are just either the extreme left or the extreme right. And the fact is, it's because of social media, and that the way we get our information is that we only see who's speaking the loudest. So whoever's making the most noise is all the information we get. And the way social media works, they're going to feed you what you tend to like. So if you watch a lot of right-sided politics, that's all you're going to see. If you like seeing right-sided politics as hatred, that's all you're going to see. You know, it seems, you know, that they're just feeding you what you're used to. And so it just either strengthens your, hello, what's up, bud? It strengthens your beliefs one way or the other, or another way of saying it, to manipulate you. But so last night's State of the Union here in the United States, I thought it was a good speech. There's obviously an agenda that Trump has, but I think that he did good. I think that both sides had no choice but to cheer him on. And if you remember 2 years ago, even the Republicans in general weren't thrilled that he was coming into office. You know, he came in like a bull, and I think he's learned a little bit, but his speech was his best speech so far, in my opinion. Not that I follow it all too much, but anyway, so it was a decent speech. He actually didn't sound like a complete moron like he normally does. I'm not sure where the rest of you guys are from, but here in Michigan, our weather has been out of this world. And so last week we had a wind chill, or feels like temperature, of negative approximately 30 degrees. And earlier this week we were over 50 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit. So we had around an 80-degree swing, 60 to 80 degree swing here in the northern United States. And now today it's kind of in the middle, and we're down in that 20 to 30 degree range, but we have thunderstorms and rain, and so it's become extremely dangerous in the area that I live to be out driving. So all of my friends that are watching, please be careful this morning. If you have to go to work, just take your time, watch out for other drivers. If somebody seems like they've got to get somewhere, just get out of their way. I'm sure they're going to cause an accident if they're not being careful. So it's one of those dangerous times where if you don't have to drive, don't drive. If you can keep your kids home from school, keep them home from school. One thing that I am, so this is the first, if you're new to this, this is the first time that I've been able to stream my video without it breaking up. Keep my camcorder actually working, having my sound not break up. It's one of those things where it's been a challenge to get everything working, at least to a way that it's not annoying to watch this. And I also have one of my screens dedicated to the chat, so I can actually see what you guys are saying. And I think if I took my glasses off, I probably wouldn't be able to read any of this. But yeah, man, 100 total views, that's cool. Totally cool. And I'm not really the only thing I did different this morning is I put a link on my personal Facebook page saying that I was going to go live at 7 a.m. And I put a link to my website so that if anybody wanted to jump on and see what the heck was going on, they could. I eventually will, I think I'll actually start doing Facebook Live, but I'm not sure. One of the things that I've noticed, right now I'm only streaming to YouTube and Twitch. And I would say that of the two, the best engagement seems to be in Twitch. The streaming seems to be better suited for Twitch, but I know that there's more of the people that used to follow me through my journey in 2012 are actually on YouTube and Facebook. So I have the ability to go to Facebook Live, and I may do that, but we'll see. I know that that goes against the streaming rules, I think, on Twitch. If I become, I think it's called a partner, but we'll see. There is one update on partnerships. We were talking to Wahoo, trying to get some kind of partnership with them, and they chose to pass for now. Well, they didn't say for now, I'm saying for now. So, hey, good morning. So yeah, I'm saying for now. I think that once I build the channel up, I'll reach back out to them and see if they're interested in any kind of partnership. I will tell you the trainer that I'm using using a Wahoo Kickr 2018 model. I am riding a Raleigh Willard 2 gravel bike with a 9-speed cog, and no modifications to the bike yet. I bought this in mid 2018, and I chose a gravel bike just because where I live there's a lot of dirt roads, and it just made more sense. I used to own a GT road bike and a GT Avalanche mountain bike, and before that I rode Specialized FSR Pro Comp mountain bike, and that thing was awesome. Yeah, this is their steel gravel bike, and it's been good. I mean, I'm not saying that it's got the best components in the world. I think it's got Sora by Shimano, but for now it works. If I get to where if I meet my goal, let's put it that way, if I get down into the lower 200s pound-wise, then I may get a little more serious about what I actually ride. But this thing's been awesome for me. I love riding a road bike, but you can't ride skinny tires down dirt roads, or some of the trails that we have. You know, they go from concrete pavement to dirt to compact dirt, and it's just not fun. So riding a gravel bike just makes the most sense. I can literally take off from my house. I can go any distance I want, go down any type of road I want, and be comfortable. So if you're out trying to decide whether you're going to buy a mountain bike or a road bike or what kind of bike, or if you're just thinking you want to get back on a bike, buy a gravel bike. I'm just telling you, do it. Because you're going to think you have to buy a mountain bike because that's just what people buy. But mountain bikes have their limitations because they're a fat tired bike and they're meant for trails and, you know, mountains. So I live in Michigan. So I do agree, if you live in a more urban environment and you live like in a city, then a road bike would be great. You would never have the issues that I have. But you live in any kind of suburban area, I think that a gravel bike makes sense. And mountain bikes are fine. I don't say that I don't want to have a mountain bike. I do, actually. So I have ridden my gravel bike in some mountain bike-ish areas, and it doesn't perform very well. But you can ride it. The geometry just isn't meant. Now, if you were primarily riding like a mountain bike type trail, I would say that you'd want to possibly get a cyclocross bike. The geometry is a little different. I've been on them. They're easier to get on and off, and you're going to have to get off them if you're riding in the mountain bike trails. So, but I'm happy with my choice. I would have went with any of the American manufacturers if I would have seen a path to getting one. My best opportunity was to buy Raleigh, and that's why I chose to do that. And it was because I was able to finance the bike at the time I needed to do that. Now I actually could have bought whatever I wanted, but at the time, financing made sense, so I used a phorm financing. And so if you're out there looking to purchase anything, just type a phorm and whatever it is you're looking for. For instance, if you're looking for a monitor, type a phorm monitor, and you'll find some of the companies out there that allow you to use a phorm financing. The advantage of the financing with a phorm is that they don't do a hard pull on your credit, and so it doesn't affect your credit just to find out if you can get approved. And I know that's a concern with a lot of people. Now, I do work in the finance world, auto financing, and so I have a little bit of knowledge of how credit works and the effects of hard pulls on your credit and all of those fun things. And of course, I have personal experience with a downtime in my life, which was 2012 to 2014, where I lost almost everything. My savings, lost one of my homes, lost a vehicle, and so I've had to rebuild my credit over the last few years. Holy cow, look at all the guys. I'm in the middle. That's funny. So I'm in the middle of a race or something. Look at all these guys. Holy shit. One of these days I'll actually be able to keep up with these people. Right now I'm just, like I said, just trying to just keep moving. Torday something, I don't, I can't. So the screen's a little too far away. I could pass an eye exam, but not if you truly ask me to to read everything. Sufferlandia, Torday Suffer, yeah. One of these days I'll be able to keep up with those guys. I'm riding, I think, Watopia's flat track today. And if you've never seen this before, there's a lot of different routes and training courses that you can ride. And you can make some decisions before you start riding and where you want to ride. I'm not an expert on Zwift yet, by any means. I am just getting started. And so, as those that have been following me know, I'm looking at just trying to stay on the bike for an hour Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings and stream it out to you guys. And the purpose of the streaming is, I guess, hey, I had zero income back in 2012 to 2014. And when I lost my job in 2012, it wasn't something I saw coming. I should have, but I didn't see it coming. And so I was pissed, and though I was out looking for another job, it took me a long time to look for a job that was below my qualifications. And so I wasted a lot of time in the beginning trying to get the job that I was similar to the one that I had had. And I ended up switching careers completely by 2014. And throughout that 2012 and 13 years, I was doing some kind of some direct sales, and I wasn't very good at it as far as the sales side. And so I really wanted to get better at selling. And so oh, well, you're a student, that helps. I really wanted to get better at selling. So I had heard or read somewhere that if you want to become a good salesperson, go sell used cars, because it's the toughest sales job out there. And so I had some friends of mine here in my hometown that had a car dealership, and they were looking to expand to have some salesmen. And so I think they reluctantly hired me because they didn't think I would stick around very long. And almost 5 years later now, I'm still there. So now, will I be there forever? We'll see. I did open an insurance agency because I just wanted to help the dealership out. And so I was selling insurance inside the agency, but it just wasn't supporting itself. So I very recently made a decision that I'm going to go ahead and close that operation. So that's you with ride on, the ride on. So I don't know what ride on means. I assume that means you're close to me. But anyway, so yeah, I've made the decision to go ahead and close the agency, and that decision really was within the last week. I was intending on quitting my sales job and just concentrating on the agency, but I don't have enough money put aside to take that kind of risk. And so I just made the decision just to go ahead. So let me see here. All right, I don't know which icon that is, so I'm gonna look for it. So what I'm using for a monitor is I have oh, okay. So what one of my purchases over the last couple weeks is I bought an LG 32-inch monitor that has a split screen software that you can download for it. And so it allows me to split it into different types of screens. So I actually have 3 screens running right now off of one monitor. And so I have one large screen, which is where I have my OBS software running. I have 2 smaller screens, which is the Zwift application and the Restream chat window open. And so I'm going to actually add back my 27-inch monitor to the setup, and I'm going to have the chat attached to that screen, and to have it closer to me so that I can actually read it and not struggle so much. And again, the goal of this is just to make the stream better for you and me, to be able to actually not look like a complete moron. So some people have asked me, how long do I think it'll take me to get down to 244 pounds? I mean, at the rate I'm going right now, never gonna get there. And it's a food issue. I'm eating too much. I wouldn't say I'm eating the wrong food, but I have over the last few weeks. But I'm eating late at night, which is a killer, and I'm eating too large of portions at times, which is something that I just gotta make it happen. I just gotta, some reason or another, I'm giving in, and I shouldn't. So yeah, I think the second screen's gonna help interact for me too. 15 more minutes. All right, bud. Whew. So I've definitely not done a good job on the way I've been eating. I did have a little issue with one of the supplements I was taking, and it was causing me to have very high blood pressure, so I was tired throughout the day. My name is Dave Bernard. So I was struggling as it relates to my heart, blood pressure, but I figured out what it was, and so that's back to where it needs to be. So I was struggling for sure with that supplement. And you know, it gives you the warnings that you have to be careful with it, that it's a very strong supplement for your metabolism. And I do monitor my blood pressure about every other day, just to make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. I probably should have been doing it every day when I started that new supplement, but hey, I'm not the smartest feller. But and then I mean, though I've been getting on here 3 days a week for the last couple weeks, it's not enough. I'm not really riding the way that you need to ride to lose weight. And so I know that. I actually have a degree in exercise sciences with a concentration in physiology and kinesiology from Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. So it's not that I don't know what to do. It's just you got to do it. So eventually I want to get to a point where I'm running intervals, and I'll look through some of the training available on the Zwift app, but if it doesn't do what I need it to do, then I'm going to go ahead and just run my own interval trainer on a flat track. And the intervals that have always worked for me for weight loss is, I don't know if I'm going to ride later or not. We'll see. But the thing that I plan on doing from a training standpoint, so fat loss is, now I'll be at work in 2 hours, so I won't be able to ride then. Sorry. But the interval training that I'm planning on doing is meant for fat loss. And so what works for me is to run an interval of about 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds of rest and 30 seconds of as fast as I can go. Now I may not start with that interval just because I'm getting back in shape. I may only go 20 seconds, maybe only go 10 seconds. We'll see how I do. But to run that kind of interval for at least 20 to 30 minutes, and then obviously a warm-up beforehand and a cool down afterwards. But that works for me. And doing that kind of HIIT or HIIT or high intensity interval training really is the best way to lose fat fast. It tricks your metabolism. And so I know all these things, I just got to get back to it. Now I also may use the Zwift running app on a treadmill. I don't currently have a treadmill. I've sold everything I've had in the past. But if I can get my hands on a treadmill, I'll go ahead and purchase the small little receiver that you put on your shoe for the running app, and I may do some of that too. And of course, it's a little bit easier to do intervals, for me at least, on a treadmill than it is on a bike. But I think with all this stuff attached to me, we'll we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now it is working good. So this is my heart rate monitor. It's a Mio. I can't remember the exact model. So MIO is the brand. I think they're one of the companies that started this technology. But on a impulse buy, I bought the Kickr Fit armband that should be here in the next couple of days from Wahoo. So that'll ride a little bit further up on my forearm, and I think it'll be I don't know that it'll be any better, because what was happening was that I was losing connection with my heart rate monitor often, and so I felt like there was something wrong with it. But once I switched over to Ant Plus instead of Bluetooth, surprise, surprise, the connection's perfectly fine now. But so that would be a purchase. That'd be probably the first purchase I've made that I really didn't need to, though I believe it'll make it more comfortable, because I actually have to ride this wrist strap up higher to get the reading, and so it's not intended for that, and so it's not super comfortable, or I have to have it super tight on my wrist in order to have it operate. So I'll tell you guys, I'm not stopping because my legs or my heart rate or anything else. It's that my ass is hurting. So and that's part of just getting back in the game, is getting my bottom used to riding. It sucks. This sucks. But we'll see. I may eventually. There's a Specialized makes a seat, and I can't remember the model, that I've seen at one of the local shops, and I may purchase that seat and see if that helps at all. You know, a lot of people that are my size, so I'm over 300 pounds, but a lot of people that are my size think that these tiny little seats aren't meant to work for us, but it doesn't. I'll be honest, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can get in the most giant granny seat, you know, that you could purchase, and that would be way more uncomfortable than riding these skinny little cycling seats, because they're designed for you to ride these longer distances, where those big old fluffy things, they just don't work. That's it. The Specialized Power Saddle. That's what I'm talking about. I couldn't remember the name of it, so thank you. I've seen a few reviews on that seat, and it looks great. So, you know, I was looking at, man, I just can't remember the name of it, but there was it's a rawhide leather. You'll know what I'm talking about. I just can't remember the name, but there's a company that's been around forever, and they make these really nice rawhide leather seats, and I thought that was the route I was going to go, until I finally watched a few different reviews that didn't seem like it was gonna be the right move for me. So, yeah, it was Brooks. Thanks. So the Brooks saddle I thought looked cool. I was gonna get it. I was gonna get like a natural leather look, and I was gonna switch over my tape on my bars to that same type color, and so I could coordinate. But the more I looked into it, that Specialized Power Saddle looks like it's probably the better choice long term for me. So I'll let you know. 5 minutes, man. All right, let's see here. So we're at 54 minutes, almost 55. I've ridden 10.3 miles. So I think if I go back, this will be my longest ride so far. If I continue on this pace for the next 5 minutes, I think, well, I went a further distance in the hour than I have before. So, I mean, I'm getting better. Of course, the nice thing is I haven't had to fiddle around with OBS or the chat or anything else as much as I've had to in the past. So you have the Trax Vortex Smart. Yeah, I looked at all of them. I'm happy with the Wahoo. Of course, I don't have a real good experience with, you know, I didn't try anything else. I used YouTube reviews to make my decision for me as far as what trainer I'm using. But there has been some connectivity issues that I'm not happy with. And I had a Kinetic, I don't remember the name of it. The last trainer I had was a Kinetic, it's the one that sways back and forth. And it wasn't a smart trainer. And that thing was just, I was not ready for it. And I was riding the cheapest bike I've ever owned. It worked okay, but it was literally it was like a Kent manufactured GMC something or other road bike. And bought it used on Craigslist. So, yeah, it was a Kinetic rocker. Yeah, that was what it was. And so we'll see. I mean, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other on the Kickr, other than everybody said it was the right one to use. So I just wanted something. I probably could have got away with a lower model from Wahoo, but hey, the marketing worked on me. I don't know what the master category is, but I'm 47 years old. 47-year-old fat man. Just trying to get myself down to 244 pounds. Started off at 313 pounds, and though I haven't been on the scale in a few days, I'm sure I'm still right at that same weight. And I think I started around the 6th of January on this journey. I'd have to go back and look. But, and I never finished that story earlier. So how long do I think it's going to take? Reality is, I'm giving myself till January of 2020, and that's when I plan on having the surgery. So I need to be at the least under 244 pounds. I think at the best I will be able to get with my body type is maybe around 220. So 220 pounds. I know that if I pushed it to the extreme and stayed away from heavy weightlifting, I'm sure I could get closer to 200 pounds. But the only thing I really care about is, one, that my sugar levels are right, my blood sugar's right, my cholesterol's right, my heart, my blood pressure is good. I mean, those are the things I care about. And then I think from a aesthetic way of looking at it, that my waist is thinner, because that's the killer area, and that's where I struggle the most. And so I don't have love handles. I got big old truck tires sitting around my waist. And so getting my waist back down to at least a 38-inch waist is the goal. 36 would be awesome, but I'm like at a tight 44 right now. So, well, I appreciate it, man. Whenever you can, anything you can, just let me know you're on, because that does help motivate me. I can tell you, it makes it a lot easier, all the way to the point that I can hardly believe that I've been riding for an hour now. It's enough of a distraction to make this doable, and I will eventually get to where I'm riding longer distances and get involved in the races and all that, but this is a good step. Oh, it looks like we lost my heart rate again. So we'll see. That new monitor should be here tomorrow. I think that's going to help. Might even be here today. I'll have to look at my email to see, but there we go, guys. Made it another day, another hour. Another ride closer to the end, which hopefully never happens. So I appreciate everybody being on here. If there's topics you'd like to discuss, if there's anything you have questions about, if you're new to Zwift like I am, jump on and ask questions. There are people out there that follow this stream that are way more knowledgeable than I am, and I know they'll be happy to jump on and give you some advice. Oh, there you go. There's my "you better start getting ready for work" alarm. So jump, if you're not used to Zwift or you're not sure what it is, there are several other apps. If you're not sure what the right bike to use is, or the trainer, or if you want to stream, what kind of equipment, how can you do it maybe the cheapest, or what is the best options, all of those things. If you have questions, please get on and ask, because if I don't know the answer, somebody on here is definitely going to have the answer for you. Hey, Cycling Chronic. No, you're fine, man. You can watch it back. But he's actually one of the guys that's been doing this for a long time, and if you follow him, he'll be able to give you some of the better advice out there. And there's several of these people that have chimed in that have been doing it a long time. So if you have questions about whether this is the right way for you to get back into shape, or if you like cycling and you're not sure how to do it throughout the entire year, or maybe you have a time restriction to where you can't ride at night, or anything along, well, you may be new, but you got more experience than I do from what I can see. So, but my point is that there's a lot of people that jump on here, and so if you have questions, please get on, ask questions. If I don't have the answer, somebody else that's on the stream more than likely has either done the research or has real life experience when it comes to this kind of thing. You know, I'm not saying I'm using the best of the best equipment or that I know a whole lot, but I can at least tell you what I've learned so far, and the community around me can help you along the way also. So I do appreciate you getting on. Please join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern time in the United States. I don't know what time that is for you guys around the world, but just jump on and help the community grow. You don't have to use Zwift. You can use other trainers, and we can talk about that. And I may do some samples of some of those other trainers as I check them out myself. Some of them that come to mind is Fuel Gas, Sufferfest, and there's several more that you can do the same thing. If you're interested in streaming and maybe it's not the riding, but you want some information, you can reach out to me. You can reach me at davebernard@mail.com. Or you can go to oaflife@gmail.com. Either one, I'll grab those emails if you want to communicate with me. If you're interested in nutrition, you can go to firstphorm.com/Dave Bernard. That just helps me out if you buy that way. That's the products that I'm currently using. If you're not sure what to use, I can help you along the way. I've done some training with that company. My headbands are from a company called Sleeves. Don't let their website fool you. They're not just for football. I wear it to keep the sweat on my eyes when I'm riding. And there's some other products I can tell you how to use that. If you do decide to go to Sleeves, please use OAFLife40 in the discount code, and you should get 40% off. If that doesn't work, reach out to me and I'll see if there's any other discount codes I can get. I am partnered with them currently. And eventually at oaflife.com, we'll have some way for you to buy some wearables if you're an old son of a gun like I am and you just want to represent the Oaf Life. We'll help you out there. So I appreciate everybody being here, and thank you for cheering me on. And if you want to reach out outside of the stream, again, oaflife@gmail.com is probably the best way to reach me. We'll talk soon, guys.